next story is about the haunted house next door. Hello, my beautiful humans. How are you? How are you? How are you? I hope you are doing beyond amazing, beyond amazing, beyond amazing. So today, I am going to be telling you some spooky stories by popular demand. So I'm just going to be doing a bit of light nail tapping while I'm whispering. I hope you enjoy. So this story takes place in Detroit, Michigan. I was around 10 or 11 years old. My family and I had just moved into a new house. It was a pretty big house. So one night, I myself, one of my younger brothers, and two of my sisters decided that we wanted to go exploring in our attic for the first time. At this point, we had only been living in that house for about, I think, 2 months. Yeah, 2 months. So we waited until everyone else went to sleep. It was around like 2:30 a.m., I believe. So we went into my father's tool drawer and got some flashlights and made our way to the attic door. So we stood there for about a minute, going over the plan. Who's going to go first? Who's going to be in the middle? Who's going to be in the back? And reminding each other to keep quiet because our parents were sleeping. Okay, so we opened the door and we went upstairs. It was a very narrow staircase. So the first thing we noticed at the top of the stairs was in the corner to the right, because when you get to the top of the stairs, you're just facing a wall, and in the corner there was what looked like an animal's skeleton. Okay, not like a huge animal, just some rodent. I don't know what it was exactly, but it was the whole like skeleton just in the corner, like it had died and rotted and its bones was just there, covered in dust, fully intact. I don't know. That's just what we saw. So after being highly disgusted, we turned left to get the full view of the room. Now it's completely dark up there. The light switch did not work. Well, it worked, but there was no light bulb. The only light was coming from the window which was the moonlight, of course. And we had our flashlights. So the room is just completely dark and empty. There's not a chair. There's no boxes from storage. There's just completely nothing. Just dust on the floor. There's no extra rooms except for this one door in the center of the room, made out of brick with a wooden door. And it's just in the center of the attic. So we're talking, we're like, do we open the door? Because we're curious to know what could possibly be in there, you know? But of course, we're terrified. We're assuming the worst, that all scary things imaginable is behind that door. So we're going back and forth, you know, should we open it? Do you want to open it? Who's gonna open it? So we decide that we're all going to reach for the doorknob at the same time and open the door. So on the count of 3, 3, 3, 3, we twist the doorknob and open the door, and we all stumble back, of course, out of fear. But the closet is empty. It's empty, it's empty, it's empty. Except for a black garbage bag in the left corner of the closet. So now we're trying to figure out, do we want to look inside of this garbage bag? It wasn't full, but there was definitely something in it. Like halfway, the bag was like halfway full. So we knew for a fact that there was something in the bag. So the question is, who is going to grab the bag and bring it out of the closet? So once again, we agree to all grab the bag at the same time and pull it out of the closet. So when we do, we pull the bag. The bag drags on the floor with a scratching sound, like a sound like there's something in the bag, heavy. So we drop the bag automatically and we run downstairs, because at this point we know for a fact it's a bag of bones, it's a body in there. So we run downstairs. We close the door and we're standing in our bedroom because when you leave the attic, when you come out of the attic, it's a straight shot into my bedroom. All right. All the kids' bedrooms were upstairs. Parents' bedroom downstairs. So we run downstairs, lock the door, and we're standing in the bedroom, slightly terrified, just scared of what could possibly be in that bag, you know. So now we're discussing, are we going back up there? Are we gonna look inside the bag? Do we care enough to know? So after about like 10-15 minutes, we decide, hey, let's just go look. Let's just go look inside the bag. If it don't look right, if it don't smell right, we're not going to bother with it any further. So we go back upstairs into the attic, and the bag is still sitting on the floor in the same spot that we left it. So instead of just like opening the top of the bag and coming face to face with whatever's in the bag, we decide we want to grab as close to the bottom of the bag as possible and just kind of like dump it, like dump whatever's in there out onto the floor. So I grabbed one end, one of my sisters grabbed the other end, and we just turn it. But to flip it upside down, the bag just flies through the air like a feather, just sailing through the air, just like a feather, and just falls on the floor, empty, 100% empty, not nada, zilch, squat, nothing in the bag. So at this point, we scream and run down the stairs. We're pushing each other, which was very dangerous. We're pushing each other, we're stumbling, and we slam the door, we lock it. Some of us are like low-key crying. And at this point, our father wakes up and he comes upstairs because that was a lot of noise. Like, we were running and bumping on the floor and screaming, so he heard that. So he comes upstairs like, what's going on? You know, all the noise. Why are you guys up at 3 a.m.? So we, of course, came up with some excuse. I think we said something about seeing a spider or something like that. Then, you know, he yells at us a little bit and then tells us to go to sleep, and he goes back downstairs. And that's kind of it. We're just left sitting in a room wondering, what the heck was that? What was in that bag? There was something heavy in that bag. We never went back into that attic ever again. Even after living there for like years, we never once went back in that attic after that. So that's basically that story. It wasn't too heavy, but still at the same time, what, like, doesn't make sense. But we were truly creeped out. Even walking past the door to get to my brother's bedroom or the bathroom or the kitchen, you will always feel like creeped out, like eerie about that. Just knowing what happened. Like, I don't know what else to say about that, but that's the end of that story. Okay, so this next story is about the haunted house next door. Okay, so the house next door to the right of my house was partially burned down, like there had been a fire, but it was still standing. Now, when we first moved in, this is a completely different house. When we first moved in, we never really paid the house any attention. We just looked at it and was like, that's creepy, you know? And even before going into this house, we said it was haunted just because of its appearance. Okay, so one day we decided to go inside of this house because it was creepy and we were curious and it looked fun. So first thing we did was try the front door, which was locked. So we tried the side door of the house and it was open. Now the side door led into the basement of the house. So we had to go through that door, make a right, go upstairs, and then open another door which led us into the kitchen. Now, the house was strange because it just felt weird being in there because it was fully furnished. Like, you can tell that the people just had to leave immediately and they never came back for anything. I mean, dishes were in there, couches were in there. There was a nice huge beautiful piano. In the dining room, they had the dining tables, the china cabinet was still full. I mean, everything was in the house. We're creeping around the house, just, huddled up, being nosy, just looking around. If there's any photo albums, what did the people look like? We go into the dining room, the china cabinet and everything, and then there's like a smaller little shelf next to the china cabinet, and in there's like all these weird shaped crystals, little glass figures, little vials and little glass bottles with different colored powders inside of them. And the first thing that comes to mind is witchcraft. We're just like, when we were younger, we were into that type of stuff. We thought it was cool. Of course we didn't practice it, but we loved watching movies based on it and reading up on it, whatever. We just thought it looked cool. So we recognized a lot of the little figures that were in there, and that was like really creepy. So we go upstairs, and for some reason we were just like extra hyped about going upstairs. The first room we see is the bathroom. The door is open. Like I said, there's still stuff in there: combs, blow dryers, towels. All their stuff is just still there, left out. And then I think it was about 2 bedrooms upstairs, 2 or 3 bedrooms, I don't really remember. There was one room that was like slightly trashed and really dark in there. We didn't want to go in there. But then there was another room over to the left where the sun was shining in. It was pretty decent. It didn't have too much going on. It was just a basic bedroom, There was a dresser. We went through the drawers and everything. There was nothing in there, just clothes. So we decide to check the closet to see if there's anything interesting in there. There was this huge, like, I think it was a bull, a stuffed animal of a bull. It just had a bunch of weird symbols written all over it, and names and things like that, but you can tell that it was associated in some form of magic. Once I didn't want to touch it. I was like, I'm not touching that. But one of my sisters decided, hey, this is cool, I want to take it home. I was 100% against it, but she decided she wanted to take that home, and one of my other sisters wanted all of the crystals out of the cabinet downstairs because it looked cool. So they took what they wanted and we left. Now, our father was not home at this time. We were left with one of our older sisters. So, about 2 hours later, my dad comes back home. So he comes in, he greets everybody, and everything is just chill. He goes into his room, but then he comes out and it's just a whole different type of energy. We're getting yelled at. We're highly confused. His energy, the energy in the house is just off. He's yelling at us. He's upset for no reason. He's questioning us about things that we have no clue what he's talking about, and we're just like, just highly confused. Okay, that's the first thing. The first weird thing that's happened. Shortly after he's done yelling at us for no reason, he goes back into his room. We're sitting down watching TV. All of the smoke alarms in the house just goes off. They just go off. I'm talking about it. What was it, about 3, 4 in the house? Every alarm at the same time just beep. There's no smoke. No one's cooking. No one's smoking. There's no smoke in the house. He's in his room doing whatever he's doing, handling business. All of the kids are just chilling, watching TV. All of the smoke alarms are just going off. Beep, 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 beep. It's just very hectic and loud. He comes out of the room. We're all trying to figure out what's happening, why the smoke, like what's triggering the alarms. So we're fanning them, turning the fan on over the stove. Nothing is working. They're just going off, and that went on for about a few minutes, and it was so annoying and so loud. No matter what we did, they would just keep beeping and beeping and beeping and beeping. So after the alarms decided they wanted to silence themselves, everything kind of went back to chill. Like, we were just hanging out, being kids, doing whatever. So later on that day, my father went to go make prayer in his bedroom. And of course, when someone's praying, you be quiet as possible. So we were all hanging out in the living room once again. After my father is done praying, he comes out the room talking to us about making noise and running up and down the hallway while he's praying. We did not get up once. Everyone was in the same spot they were in when he went into the room to pray. No one got up. No one went near the hallway. So after that, we went into one of my older sister's room and was talking about the events of that day, and we decided that we were going to take the items back to the house. So they gathered the things they took and we went back outside. They only put some of the items back into the house. They were too afraid to take the dog back. Not the dog, but the stuffed animal, and put it back in the closet. So they threw it into the bushes of the backyard of the haunted house, because the grass was tall and unkept, of course, because there was no one there to take care of it. So took the items back and put them back inside the little cabinet. But I found out later that one of my sisters actually kept something, like one thing I guess she just could not put back. She had kept an item in her room. Everything went back to normal after we returned the items. The thing is, growing up, my mother she told us a story about, I think it was her brother or someone she knew who took flowers off of a grave when they were younger, playing around in the graveyard. And what happened when they went home and took the flowers to my grandma, and the events that took place in their house because of the flowers, and how they were told to go put the flowers back, and everything went back to normal in their home after. And my siblings knew this story, but still insisted on taking the items from the house. But anyways, so yeah, that was our first experience with that house. After that, we would sometimes just like chill on the porch, and our neighbors did shout across the street once, telling us to stay out of that house because it was dangerous, because it could have collapsed on us. Anything could have happened. There could have been squatters. But of course we weren't thinking about those things. We were just curious kids, looking to have fun. So yeah, that was our first experience with that house. Our second time going into that house, we brought our friends, the same friends we used to smoke paper with. They came with us, but this time when we went to the house, it was boarded up. The side door was locked. The outside had a huge padlock. It was boarded up because I think the neighbors had reported us to the cops. You know, there's some little kids messing around in this house. It's not safe. So the cops came and locked it up, boarded it up. So one of our friends, she decided to go around into the backyard and throw a rock through the kitchen window because we tried. This was our first time trying to go through the back door, but it was stuck. You know, the knob was turning, but it felt like there was something up against it, so I'm pretty sure they had barricaded the door. She broke the window and climbed through the window onto the top of the stove. Her stomach had got scratched up by the glass and everything, but she didn't care. She was all for the adventure. She climbed through the window, over the stove, moved whatever was blocking the back door, and opened it to let everyone else in. Alright, so we walk in. Okay, pause. Pause real quick. In our backyard, this was my sister who decided to keep the little crystal from the house. When you look outside of her window, you see our backyard, and then you see the alley, and then you see the next house. So there used to be this black cat, just straight black cat, that walked the alley all the time, and sometimes he would come into our backyard and just roam around and go about his business. Okay, resume. So we're in the kitchen and we start to make our way towards the living room, and we smelled something just foul. When we get into the living room, there's a black cat on the couch. I'm sorry, I hope this doesn't trigger anyone in a negative way, because it's kind of disgusting. And there's a cat dead on the couch. I'm sorry if this offends anyone. I'm just telling the story. Its stomach was, and there were just flies flying around, and it was just horrible. I wanted to leave after that. But our friends wanted to see the rest of the house. That was just disgusting. Okay, so there's that. We showed them the dining room, the cabinet with all the little figures and crystals and everything inside. We showed them the upstairs, and then we take them down into the basement because they want to see the basement, of course. So we go down into the basement. The basement is dark. You know, there's a few, I think there were like boxes down there that they wanted to go through just to be nosy. So we open, you know, the side door that led into the basement just for another entrance. So the next time we don't have to go all the way around the house in the back with all the bushes and all of that. So we went down there, showed them the basement. We unlocked the door. That's the end of that story. We basically just gave them a walkthrough and showed them where everything was and things like that. So the next time, we go back into the house, it's with our friends again, because now they want to go inside the boxes and things that were in the basement. We came back this time, which was like weeks later. They had patched up the window and in the kitchen. So we're downstairs. They're looking through the boxes and everything, finding nothing interesting. So they want to go back upstairs into the living room and play the piano. We walk up the stairs from the basement, and we're standing there discussing, we're talking about something. I can't remember what it was exactly. A few moments later, the basement door just slams. I'm not saying that it shut, it didn't slowly creak and then close. No, it slammed. Wham! So it startled us and we all jumped. And then the doorknob falls off the door. Now, the front door is boarded up with padlock. The back door is now locked. The window is sealed. The only way for us to get in and out is through the side door in the basement. So the doorknob falls off. So the doorknob on the opposite side falls down the stairs, and there's only the one upstairs. And you need to be able to connect the two knobs to turn it. So we're freaking out. We're literally hugging. We're all hugging at this moment, screaming with our eyes closed. So after we break the group hug, our friend grabs the doorknob and she's trying to put it in the door and twist it and turn it, and it's not working because you need the other one. We're freaking out. We're pulling on the door. We got our hand in there. We're trying to pull it through. Nothing. It won't open. So we're looking through the kitchen and we found, I think it was a screwdriver, something to press that little metal piece in there, and it pops open. The door opens and we just all take off running down the stairs and run out the door screaming, because how did that happen? The door downstairs was not open. The window was not open. There's no wind blowing to slam the door, and then the knob comes apart. Like, I don't know. We were terrified. That it startled us. Like, our backs are like, we're just talking to each other, and the door just wham, just slams, and the doorknob falls apart. Like, we were shook. We were shook. That was the last time that we ever went into that house. Also, I think it was my brother who said that one night when he was up by himself, he heard someone playing the piano in that house. Another thing is, after we seen the cat in that house, we never saw the black cat in the alley or in our backyard again. But during the winter time, in the fresh fallen snow, we would always see cat paw prints coming from the alley leading up to my sister's window, and it stopped, always coming but never going.